Now turn up.
Hey, what's up you guys, it's Rapid Story here, and I'm here coming at you with a video about breeding guppies. Now I haven't been posting videos lately, I've just been dealing with work, school, you know, life. Yeah, I'm here talking about breeding guppies. Now, breeding guppies is extremely easy, it's very, very easy. All you need is a male and a female, and that's really it. But I'm kind of going into the more complicated aspect on how to get different strains of guppies and things like that, and the more expensive guppies. Now you actually have your standard guppies, and then you have your rare guppies. As you can see, all the fish in here are standard guppies except for this black one. That black one is a rare guppy called the black Moscow guppy. Now I have a male and a female, but I haven't bred them just yet. Now a few things, like I said, they're super easy to breed. It doesn't matter what water parameters, how hot or cold the water is, they will breed. But, like I said, I will be kind of going into the more aspects of how to get a strain of guppy, or how to get the very similar guppies. Now, as you can see, 4 of the guppies are very, very, very similar looking. That is these guys all right here. Those guys, I actually got lucky. I started breeding the strains as a guppy strain not too long ago, and it actually worked out pretty well. So far I've only had 4 guppies that look all exactly like. The rest of them just look like standard guppies. But these guys are really, really cool looking. I'm going to start breeding those guys out too as well. Now, water parameters, like I said, it doesn't matter. You could have it as low as 5.0 or as high as, I don't know, 9. Honestly, it doesn't matter whatsoever. I keep my fish all at about 6.5. The way I do this is that I use RO in every single one of my tanks. My tap water comes out very high, and I could use tap water for the guppies, but I'm already using RO for everything else, so it just kind of makes sense to use it for these guys as well. Now what you want to do when going out and buying guppies is, if you want to just breed them like any ordinary guppy, you can just buy whatever. But if you want to make a strain, you can either do 2 things. You can either buy a strain like the black Moscow guppy or something similar, or you could kind of make your own strain. How you would make your own strain would be whether you would take, let's say, a red male guppy, which has maybe a few black spots or something like that, and you would take a red female guppy. Now, if you keep breeding those guys, the first batch will kind of come out like normal guppies, and they all won't be exactly the same. But if you keep breeding those male and females, the parents, they eventually will make a guppy strain. And how you kind of make a better guppy strain is you actually, what's it called, inbreeding. And now, I don't typically do that a lot. I'm going to start doing that, but not too much. If you inbreed too much, your strain will die off, get infections, or be deformed in their spine, or simply just none of them will survive at all. Now, how you would do that is one of 2 things. One of the best ways is to take one of the parents, like take the male and breed it with the offspring, and that would create an even better strain. What most people do is take the offspring, male and female, and breed them just like everything. If you wait and keep breeding, you will eventually have your own little strain. Now, like I said, my 4 little guys, they are right here. They all look alike. These guys, not so much. But the other ones all look very much alike, which I will be using them in order to make more of that strain, because I really like how their tail looks, and I'm not quite sure actually how I made that happen, because I bred a blue and red male, and actually the male looks a lot like him, and a female which was orange, and I bred them to 3 times. The first time, I've had those guys in video before, they were in my 20-gallon. The second time is this offspring right here, and the third time are these guys. And like I said, you know, time and just waiting it out, and keep breeding, you will eventually make your own little strain. Now what I recommend is use a sponge filter, and the reason for this is because if you're trying to save all of your fry and are trying to sell them or something like that, choosing the right filtration is key, because all the other filters, except for sponge filters, have propellers which can easily kill and hurt or injure your fry. They can easily get sucked up, and then they either will not come out or they will come out but dead. Sponge filters is driven by air, so there's no propellers. In fact, right here is the sponge filter. Like I said, it's driven by air, so nothing can really get sucked in, and the sponge is so fine that the only thing that can get sucked in is small particles in the water. Now, choosing the right tank, I would say, just like everything in this hobby, the bigger that is better. Now, what I'd say for breeding wise is start up with a 5-gallon. Take the female that is pregnant, put her in a 5-gallon, let her give birth, and then what you want to do is you want to pull her from that tank and put her in another tank. Now, whether you choose to put her in a tank that has no males or a tank that has males is completely up to you. How I do it is I have 3 tanks, so I have the males and females and fry all separated, and that's kind of how I do it my way. But I would say start off with a 5-gallon and have the babies in there for about 3 weeks to a month. What that'll do is it's easy for water changes, and what you want to do for water changes is possibly, if you have the time, you want to do it as much as possible. So I would recommend like a water change every other day. If you can't do that, try 4 times a week, 3 times a week, as much as you possibly can. And then after a month, I'd say upgrade them to in either whatever size tank you have next. A 10-gallon, a 20-gallon, something like that. Don't put them back into your show tank per se if you know that they will be eaten. So you want to kind of set up one like 10-gallon or set up a few size different tanks. That's kind of how I have it. I have a 5-gallon, I have 10-gallon, and I used to have a 20-gallon, and I will get into that later on in the video. Now, like I said, with the water changes, you want to do it every other day, but once they start getting bigger, you can actually less and less for the water changes. I have read that the first 2 months are the most critical for growth. I believe that is in any fish, because you want to feed them heavily from the day 1 to the 2-month mark, and you want to do as many water changes as possible. After that, it kind of goes in, the growth goes into, instead of growing their body, it starts growing their fins, and then it turns into sexual maturity, which after the 2 months, they are actually able to breed with each other. So at about the 2-month range, I'd say separate the males and females if you can. If you can't, it's not too big of a deal, but if you're trying to get a strain, you absolutely must. Alright guys, I think that's about it for breeding guppies. If you guys want any more in-depth or have any questions, just put them in the comments. But I will be talking about something. I have a very, very big update to make, and I'll be making that most likely next week when I have time. The reason why I said I used to have a 20-gallon is I don't want to spoil anything, but basically that tank is taken down and I have a new tank, and I'll be showing off that new tank in the next week. So if you guys definitely want to see that tank, leave a like, comment. If you have any questions, just put it down in the comments, and if you guys have any video ideas to give me, put that down in the comments too. I really need you guys' help, and thank you very much. This is Rapid, and I'll see you guys later.